Hi everyone, this is Amina for another episode of Wise Wednesdays, and today it's about how to deal with complaints gracefully. So Tony Robbins says that all communication is either a loving response or a cry for help. So reframing any criticism or complaint in that light helps us to see the criticism differently. Now we have to acknowledge our own needs and our own limitations in that we have a body that tries to protect itself. And a criticism is perceived as an attack usually. So we go into self-defense mode, which is how can I stop this attack? How can I stop this pain? Because our body interprets pain as injury and injury as damage, and continuous injury and damage resulting in death. So our brain and our body functions to avoid pain at all costs, above and beyond gaining pleasure. And in fact, in economic research, this is known as loss aversion. And we know that loss aversion trumps the gain of pleasure. So it's a very, very powerful response in our body when we perceive an attack, and we have to acknowledge it as something that is just a natural thing that we do as human beings. But once that's done, what can we do to allow this response to occur and move through it? So we acknowledge that our body has had this arousal, has had this fight-flight type response, and we pause. This is where the mindfulness and the self-awareness practice comes in. So we acknowledge this, we notice it in our bodies because we've been practicing mindfulness. So we're capable of noticing this arousal and then of letting it settle down. So we pause so that that arousal can then settle down. If we're able to do that, then our conscious mind can kick in again, our reasoning can kick in again, and we can start to look at the criticism in a different light. Essentially, we're reframing the criticism or reframing the meaning, giving it a different meaning. David Rico, who wrote How to Be an Adult in Relationships, talks about the 5 A's. So if you look at criticism as a form of complaint and a complaint as a form of request, then the question becomes, well, what is this person requesting of me? What does this person need? A request is a person asking you to meet one of their needs. So what is the need that they're asking to be met? So David Rico talks about the 5 A's, which are attention, appreciation, allowing, acceptance, and affection. And in a business setting, affection could be warmth or openness. So once you look at it that way, can you then pause again and think about how you can meet this person's need? If you know the person, then you might be able to tell whether they're a person that's usually driven by significance, for example, in which case they'll appreciate your appreciation of them. Or are they driven by connection? Are they sort of feeling a disconnection and they're complaining and criticizing you for not being present enough and giving them attention or warmth? And essentially, if you try this, you will notice how much easier your interactions can become. Of course, there's a moment where you have to put a bit of effort, you have to invest a little bit of energy in overcoming your natural automatic response to allow it to settle down so that you can return to a state of presence to then respond from a wiser place. Now, if you're in a situation where you need to give a quick response, so you think that this criticism is a one-off, it's uncalled for, maybe you may perceive it as cruel, and you just want to do something quickly to move past it, then you still have to pause and breathe through it. However, you can also use some very quick ready-made sentences that I'm about to show you. However, you'll have to adapt them to the situation. But if you think like a martial artist, you're essentially receiving someone's energy and you need to respond to it somehow. So someone's thrown this aggressive energy at you, or at least you perceive it as aggressive, and you need to do something to recover a neutral position. So the first thing you can do is to stand your ground. So you receive this criticism. For example, someone says, "Oh, I really didn't like your talk. I think your presentation skills are really not good." So you take this in the face and you feel that this is an attack on you. So you pause, take a deep breath, and the first thing you can do is just to stand your ground and say, Yeah, thanks for that feedback. I really enjoy giving the talk actually, but I might think about what you said. So you haven't really been aggressive back. All you've done is to say, thanks, but no thanks. And the might in this sentence is crucial because you're implying that you're going to remain in control of your experience. So you may or may not decide to think about their comment. You're very much in control and you're letting that person know in a non-aggressive way. The second thing you can do is to deflect. So you're deflecting that energy that's come towards you, that aggressive energy of, I don't like your thing. You deflect it onto something else. So that energy's come towards you and you say, yeah, it's really tough, this business, isn't it? So that person's made a criticism of you personally, or they're trying to, or that's how you perceive it. But you've taken that energy and you've just passed it on. It's like, yeah, it's a tough world we live in, isn't it? Or, public speaking is just so hard. So you're doing two things. One, you're deflecting the attention onto the bigger picture. It's like, yeah, public speaking is hard for everybody. And you're also trying to recreate a connection with them, as in it's difficult for all of us, including you and me. So that's the second strategy you can use. The third strategy so the first one was standing your ground. The second one was deflecting. The third one is to redirect it back onto them. So the way you do that is, so the energy is coming towards you. It's like, I don't like your thing. What you do is you say, hey, that's an interesting point. Is this something that you have struggled with? So you've taken that energy and you've just given it back. You've said, oh, wow, yeah, that's that's a good point. That's interesting. Thank you. How about you? Is this something that's been a problem for you? And see what they say. So the fourth strategy is posturing. So you feel someone has attacked you. They're coming at you with a criticism of some kind. So what you do is you posture back saying, hey, I can do this as well. But this is you're starting to ramp up the aggression. So I would leave this as a last resort. And what you would do in this case is to say, essentially this strategy is about feigning stupidity to allow a little bit of aggression through. So you're saying, sorry, I didn't catch what you said the first time. Could you repeat what you said? And so you're creating spaciousness. You're not being aggressive. You're not attacking the person. You're saying, oh, really? Okay. Do you want to say that again? Just so I'm not sure I got you correctly. Do you want to say that again? And very few people will say it again, either because it's just not worth the effort because they didn't manage to discountenance you the first time round, or because they sense that this person's responding a little bit aggressively, maybe I should back off. But hopefully it's because of the first. It's that, okay, fine, I made my point, but it's really not worth the effort to keep this going. Now, the fifth strategy is retaliation, and that is direct aggression, and I would not recommend using that at all. I don't think that in today's day and age you need to use direct aggression, especially not in response even in response to aggression that's been directed at you, unless it's a violent situation, but that's not what we're talking about here. So I would either, if a criticism is coming at you and you need to do something quickly, use one of these four strategies. Either one, stand your ground, say, oh, thank you very much, that's interesting, and maybe I'll think about it. Number two is shifting the energy, so just taking that energy and just passing it on by saying, I know it's just so tough, the whole thing is just really difficult. The third thing is to redirect it at them. So, okay, really? Okay, so what about you? Is this something that's difficult for you? Let them talk. And the fourth thing is posturing, which is starting to bring in some of your aggression, where you're like, I didn't catch that. Can you say that again? And then the fifth one is retaliation, which I don't think is necessary, but just so you know what on the spectrum where you are. All right, well, I hope this helps. Please leave any comments below the video or on the blog. If you're not subscribed to the Wise Wednesday newsletter, please do at www.dremina.com, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. Bye-bye.